Hello everyone, this is the Mega Construx Jumbo Pikachu buildable set, 806 pieces, and goes for $50 or less in the US. To compare it to the standard size of Pikachu that they came out with in their first season of covering the Pokemon franchise, yeah, there's very little comparison there. This has tremendous presence. You can see it from across the room. You can see it from across a sea of cubicles if somebody has it up on top of their desk or something like that. And the build features some really interesting techniques. There's a good amount of posability that I'll try to show off here, and I don't believe this uses any new and exclusive pieces. If there are any new pieces, they are very useful, and they're not really designed for a Pikachu. They're just designed to have a lot of utility, as is the pretty standard modus operandus for Mega Construx. They try to limit the number of truly specialized pieces to places where they really need to use them. This does feature some prints, no stickers on the set whatsoever. So these are new prints specifically for the Pikachu. Also the same thing for the ears. Those are exclusive prints, but not exclusive molds. And then also a couple of the stripe pieces back here are actually printed. So this piece is the same as this piece, but this one has a print on it, whereas this stripe here is done just with the color of the plastic. You can see that there's a ton of studs on the side construction with this, and at the very core of this build, the first kind of the skeleton that you build up is not completely rectangular. It just, I don't know, it's very difficult to describe. So here's a picture of it. This is really what everything is built upon, and the way that these larger pieces, the white pieces, the blue and the red bricks there are attached, is very interesting to get them at just the desired offset, exactly where they wanted them to be. They don't attach them with just studs. They have these longer tube parts that stick out from modified 1x1 plates that are well secured in there. They're kind of vice gripped into place with other bricks all around, and they slide, those tubes, which are the size of a stud, slide way into the larger bricks here, which provides just a lot stronger mechanical connection than using just a single stud into an anti-stud or something like that. And everything gets attached basically to these major bricks there, except for the head and the tail that are attached a little bit more securely. But you can see all this is studs on the side construction here. The back pieces going onto the back, the side pieces are attached from the side, and the head actually has construction from pretty much every angle possible, with studs on top. You get studs underneath, so some of these pieces are fully upside down. The back of the neck there is open. That is required to get the articulation out of this thing. You can rotate the head all the way around. You can bring it up, you can angle it up. It's got a ratcheted joint in there. It's fairly strong, and it's also on a ball joint it's on a joint that has a sideways rotation axis to it that allows you just a little bit of adjustment in there. I think that's actually kind of free play. It's not really supposed to have that, but because of the weight of this assembly, you're able to kind of offset it within there. There's supposed to be, I think, a larger ratcheted movement to that. But yeah, just prints for those, prints for these. Oh, the ears are on ball joints, and these are really useful joints, the way that they can be rotated around, because you can bring the ear down like that. You can actually bring an ear back a bit. Let's see if I can get that to go back farther and keep it on. I'm trying to, yeah, there's about the limit of how far it'll go back. That's not too bad. And of course you can bring them up, you can bring them straight up completely, so you can really get a lot of expressiveness out of this. You can also rotate these eye pieces around to change the point of the highlight there if you want. The arms have just a single shoulder ball joint each to allow you to bring the whole thing across like that, which is actually fairly far. It's a pretty good range there. You can bring it out like so. You can have it going up like that, bring it up to the head if you want. So, you know, for just a single joint that you can move around, that's pretty good for what it is. I think it kind of fits the theme well enough, though this area here does not look that good. At least everything is completely yellow from the outside with very little kind of bleed through of colors of pieces underneath, so you don't see strange things in the gaps. At the legs, you can actually rotate the feet out to splay them to give you more stability from side to side, but you can also rotate these forward and back, and those don't have ratchets in them. This allows you to find a walking pose. You do need to get this balanced to get it to set up properly, and you may need to adjust the angle of the tail to get the overall counterbalance just right, but eventually you can find a spot where there's enough friction where it will hold. I don't have full confidence in that, to be honest with you. Like to leave it completely on display like that long term, I would probably use some additional pieces just to kind of prop it up a little bit, but it is possible to get it into a pose like that, and it's not completely fragile. I wish there was a little bit more friction in those leg joints to help with that, but with this you can also bring your Pikachu into, this is part of the reason for this large open area on the back of the head, you can bring it into a all fours position, and there we go, get it to display like that. There is one thing that I don't like about this pose, or the mechanics of this pose. You can't get the head to be completely level because there is so much weight in it that it's just pulling down against that even rather strong joint there. There's just so much weight working against it that the head is always going to angle down just a little bit. I wish they had just a little bit more strength in that, or that they had used an extra strong ball joint. I don't know if a ball joint would have been enough, but that just has a little bit too much play in it. This is the same play that allows you to tilt the head side to side when it's on just two legs, but if you're going to put it into this sort of pose, it's best to probably rotate the head just to get it to not look like it's looking down. That's one thing that I definitely don't like in this pose overall. It tends to look like it's looking down, but this is a good thing to set up if you're going to have this posed up high up. You know, if you're going to put it up on a shelf that's up high or on top of some office furniture. And again, even from the most camera unfriendly angles that you typically wouldn't see, you know, if you have this thing on display, you're not going to be seeing a bunch of blue and red and black and, you know, other odd colors that are used for interior build or structure build for this. Even this base section has the studs ultimately upside down construction that's used, and all the pieces are yellow. So I really haven't found any angle that displays particularly poorly. There are some gaps that you can see around in different parts of the build, but most of it is for the sake of articulation, and for the most part this does look good in most poses from most distances. Now, one thing you can do to put this into more of an action pose as an easy cheat without adding any additional pieces is to just bring the tail down and use it as ultimately a third leg to give this that extra stability that was lacking when I started articulating the legs by themselves and individually, and that is stable. There is definitely enough strength there that this is not something that I would worry about having on display long term. Part quality, as you can see, is not absolutely perfect. When you look up close, you can see some different angles in some of the seams between the parts. I have no issue with the clutch power with any of the pieces in this set. It's going to hold itself together 10 times better than Mega Bloks of old. But still, if you're looking for perfection, I did want to get up close and show you that they have not achieved perfection, and if the tiny little gaps bug you, that will bug you no matter what unit you get. You know, that's something that will vary slightly from one to the next, but I didn't just get unlucky here. This is fairly common for the Mega Construx stuff. It's not absolutely perfect with the lines, but the pieces do hold together well, and they do go together well. They feel good when they're connecting with a very nice and confident landing. Again, $50 US. I actually got it for $45 from Target. It was their starting price for it for 806 pieces. Feels like a pretty good deal, just a much better deal than I'm used to these days with brick-based construction toys. I'm very happy with the purchase. It's a really large thing. I like this much better than the other large builds that Mega Construx, or formerly Mega Blocks, has done in the past. There's just so much more posability with this, and it's a good solid build with some interesting techniques and no real bad angles either. So yeah, overall definitely satisfied with this, though as I've tried to show you here fairly, it also has its limitations and some of its quirks and negative aspects. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you again soon.